Welcome to our ABC 10 Plus streaming. I'm meteorologist Carley Gomez with the latest updates on California's weather, including the wildfire conditions in Southern California. Now, we know the Eaton fire still at #2 most destructive wildfires in California history, still with over 7,000 plus structures burned, and the Palisades fire at #4 with over 5,000 structures burned. We now know the confirmed death toll is now up to 27 dead. Now, talking about what we can expect for areas a little bit further south, we have been looking at a high pressure system in place that has been lasting for a couple days. This is actually one of the first days Southern California has actually gotten a little bit of relief from some of those winds. Most of those winds dying down early into Thursday morning, and now seeing more calm conditions. Now, with the high pressure systems in place, this is really bringing dry conditions to most of the western U.S. And we're starting to see here a small cutoff low beginning to develop, bringing in some moisture. So that's some good news, with an onshore flow pushing into the Baja California Peninsula and portions of Mexico. What that's doing for Southern California is that's increasing their humidity levels there. So good news when it comes to firefighting, as we're getting those humidities up and some of the drier conditions down. 80% relative humidity in Santa Monica, 64 in Long Beach. And as we take a look at areas a little bit further away from Santa Monica, where the Palisades fire is burning, areas of Oxnard, where we knew a fire burn there as well, Van Nuys, anywhere from around 50 to 80% humidity. So these are some really good numbers to be seeing when just a day ago they were in red flag warning conditions for fire danger. Looking at futurecast winds through tonight, very light, if not calm conditions. Wonderful to see for those firefighters battling those blazes still and gaining ground on some of that containment. Now, as we take a look ahead into the weekend, we're going to see a small pickup, but this again is an onshore flow. So a lot of those winds coming in from the ocean onshore, increasing the humidity levels as that brings in that ocean breeze, and most of that pushing out toward the east. So getting westerly winds right now is a better condition, better news than the Santa Ana winds that come in from the east. Now, that's going to help out again with the firefight. If anything's burning, it's kind of pushing it right back to pretty much where it started. So we're hoping firefighters can get a handle on that as we continue through the next few days through the weekend. Still better conditions with the onshore flow. A little bit of a wind pickup here for Sunday, but otherwise nothing compared to what they saw with those easterly winds and those Santa Ana winds coming in just through last week. So again, great news as they get a little bit more of a containment effort in place here. There is one downside to this. We are potentially still seeing some potential for more fire weather conditions with strong winds that may be coming in Monday to Tuesday. As we look at our significant fire potential just through this week, they're still looking at moderate to dry conditions. Of course, they've dealt with so much of that fire. It's still out there. Humidity levels are improving, but it's still completely dry for a lot of these spots as they've gotten little to almost no rain for the winter season. As we take a look at low significant fire potential, still looking at that along the coastlines as they'll get a little bit of a wind pickup, but otherwise the rest of California is looking really good. We're seeing low significant fire potential, moist conditions for most of the state as they've gotten above average, at least rainfall this time of year from Sacramento north. All right, let's take a look at our departure from normal. We have been looking at areas from Southern California down, getting, as I mentioned, 0 to nearly just trace amounts of rainfall. Everything really north of Bakersfield from Modesto up is a lot better, especially for our friends from Redding and Eureka, looking at nearly 20 to 25, if not a little bit more than that, inches of rainfall for the winter months. That started October 1st. That is the start of the water year, and it ends on September 30th. Now, for Sacramento, they got about 7.8 inches, and that number is interesting because it's just slightly now below where we should be when it comes to average rainfall this time of year. Take a look at some of the departures that we've been seeing. We're now just a little bit below where we should be. Just about a week ago, we were still on the positive, on the plus side. With the lack of rain for now, as much as 15 to almost 20 days, we are seeing from Modesto north, seeing deficits in rainfall totals when just in December, we were looking really good. All these numbers were above average and we were pretty great. Everything from Bakersfield south was looking terrible, and it still is. They're seeing a departure of 5 inches of rain in LA. I mean, those are numbers that shouldn't even be there. They should at least be somewhere at least close to the average this time of year, which is right around that 5 mark, and they really haven't seen much of that. This is a weak La Nina year. Typically in weak La Nina years, we see most of that rainfall targeted to Northern California, way northern California and up into the Pacific Northwest. Meanwhile, areas around Sacramento could be a hit or miss, but we're likely to see above average rainfall in weak La Nina years. Now, Southern California usually misses out during the weak La Nina years. They're typically in a deficit, but this is a pretty substantial deficit. In Palm Springs, over 1 3/4 inches of rain behind where they should be. All right, let's talk about Northern California's weather, as a lot of the area for ABC 10, of course, is the Sacramento region and the San Joaquin Valley. Patchy overnight fog and frost is going to continue. We have been seeing very cold overnight lows in the 30s. They'll continue mid-30s to upper 30s into next week. Dry, sunny conditions, and those weather conditions are expected to continue at least for the next 10 days. We're still not seeing any substantial weather pattern that could make its way toward us just yet. So not good news when we're talking about getting that winter rain. Now, a frost advisory is in effect for our friends near the Bay Area and through portions of the Delta, but most of the valley not seeing a frost advisory. But if you've noticed, your grass and those rooftops are still seeing frost in the early morning hours. And we have been getting those temperatures near freezing this week, if not at or below freezing temperatures. Now, looking at our winds coming in for our Friday evening, we're going to see about 5-mile-per-hour winds or so on average, but we really haven't been receiving very strong winds much at all. And that's been leaving a lot of that bad air quality in place. A lot of the fireplaces that have been burning, you're smelling some of that smoke in the air as you're heading outside or in the morning hours. And that air quality has kind of been sitting overhead because of the high pressure system in place. As we look at the onshore winds coming in from the ocean to San Francisco and Fairfield, a slight pickup there, about 15-mile-per-hour wind gusts possible, but otherwise most of the strong winds into the weekend are expected to move just east of Reno and through portions of Nevada. So again, we're not really going to benefit from some of those winds clearing out any of our bad air quality. We're going to continue to see calm to light winds, which may trap those pollutants in overhead. So make sure you're aware of that. If you are unhealthy or sensitive group, people may be dealing with that respiratory issue because of that air quality. Otherwise, everyone should be fine. We're just seeing an increase in air quality. Now, I do want to show you this. This is our 500 millibar chart. It's our futurecast chart, what we expect to happen in the atmosphere and where we expect some high and low pressure systems to move. We have been tracking that very strong and persistent high pressure ridge building up into Canada. But right after that, you notice this big trough beginning to move in as well. That is for Monday, and you're seeing it dig. As it digs further into California, we may expect to see increasing wind speeds. The high, the low pressure system right next to each other increase our winds. That may not be some good news. If that continues to dig a little further in toward California, we may anticipate some strong Santa Ana wind events for Southern California once again Monday to Tuesday. That should begin clearing out by Tuesday night, though. And then finally through next week, that high really continues to build in place, mostly right over California. This could be good news. Once we get that high pressure system that was over the ocean to finally budge and move over, that may be the path that we need for a low pressure system or rain event to make its way into our area. We're hoping futurecast models may be showing a positive streak toward more rain as we move into February. So we'll have to keep our eye on that, see whether or not that allows us to get some rain and that high, if that begins to shift out of the area and we see this ridge beginning to weaken, we may be getting some rain as we move into February. So we're fingers crossed on that one and hoping we can see some more precipitation as we need to increase our water for the water year. All right, looking into the foothills spots, we're seeing about mid to upper 50s and low 60s into our foothills in Arnold, Twain Harte, Sonora, and Groveland. Overnight lows are pretty cold, though. We're seeing a few of those below freezing temperatures. 61 in Angels Camp, and then Truckee 45 degrees. The daytime highs have been right around those mid 40s, but overnight lows have even been into the teens to low 20s. Bay Area, if you're headed there for your Friday, mid to upper 50s and low 60s expected. 62 Tracy Triangle, and then we're finally looking at our valley spots here in Modesto, 60 degrees with overnight low at 37, 63 in Turlock and Patterson. We'll continue the low 60s further north with overnight lows in the mid 30s over the next few days and into your weekend. Your Saturday and Sunday are going to be slightly cooler for the daytime high in the mid-50s. Mostly sunny skies continues. We may see a few more of those patchy areas of frost on your grass, on your rooftops in the early morning hours as, of course, these temperatures continue to stay right around those mid-30s. As we move toward next week, we're also continuing to see those mostly sunny skies with consistent temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s.